Yo, and welcome to a very special episode of Crate 808. Today we have a very special guest. We have a freelance writer for the likes of Hip Hop Connection, Blues and Soul, The Voice, ID, numerous national press outlets, and music historian Vie Marshall. How are you today?
Hello, Cam. Hi, I'm good, thanks.
Thank you for coming in and blessing us with your presence, man. Really, seriously, appreciate that.
Thank you. Am I the first female?
You are. You are the first female. Hopefully, the first of many.
Okay.
So we have Sarah Love lined up. So that'd be nice.
Lovely.
Yes,
yeah.
And just numerous others. And we're chasing all the artists from back in the day, like Bahamadir and people like that. So that aspect of hip hop can't be forgotten. And we like to make sure we showcase it where we can on this pod. Mm-hmm. So yes, I mean, there's a few things I want to talk to you about today. Mm. But you've brought in an album to talk about today as well, haven't you?
Yes. LL Cool J. Mama said knock you out.
Yes, I'm here for that. We haven't done hardly any LL chat. So on Instagram, people have been saying like, oh, how are you forgetting EPMD and LL? And it's like, we're not forgetting. We just haven't got time to get there yet. So I'm very happy you brought this album in. We are going to dive in. But there's a few things I'd just like to chat to you about generally, V, because again, we've had a few Hip Hop Connection writers on and they've all spoken very highly of you.
Oh, bless them. I give them money.
But there were certain things like I just didn't know about yourself until you started telling me, because your profile online is not enhanced as everyone else's when they're on platforms and telling everyone who they are.
Yeah, no, they're all out to get me, so I have to keep undercover, you see. So.
But there's some really interesting things you were telling me. You were saying you're like the UK's first female black journalist, right?
I'm told by people who were older than me and been in the game longer than I was. Yeah. So my good friend Malou Halassa, who is a legend in the music writing world, she's now gone on to be a great author. She was writing for Rolling Stone on Hip Hop Connection and stuff before, and she actually bequeathed me my column at Blues and Soul. Yeah, I was the second youngest music journalist in the world, apparently.
Because this is what you tell me about the Guinness Book of Records, right?
Yeah. Apparently they told me some boy beat me to it being the first, or the youngest. Yeah. So he was younger by a year. So I'm like, no one remembers second place, do they? So.
But they do now.
Well, I do. I remember. But
it's interesting because it's not only are you female in a very male dominated industry. And then you have the fact that you're young. So it wasn't even like you were learning at the same time as being in a role that there weren't many people like you. Did you ever feel that pressure when you were writing as a younger person? Or did you just think, I'm trying to express myself and carve out my kind of my role in this industry? Or did you ever feel the pressure of I
don't think I felt the pressure. I think when I was I think it was 14, 13, I picked up Smash Hits. If everybody remembers Smash Hits.
Yeah, for sure.
And that was when I realized that there was such a thing as a job as a music journalist, and getting really into the lyrics and stuff of all that's going on. I thought, well, this is what I want to do then. So 13, 14, I was like, yeah, I'm on this. And then because I was tall and had a deep voice, I was able to sort of, I don't know how I worked out how you could get into gigs, but I would just phone up that student union things in Reading University, because I was born and raised in Reading, and just at any venue and just claim that I was some big shot, music journalist. I started doing a fanzines, So I first of all started at the Reading Evening Post, so just phoned and got into a gig, wrote some reviews, and then they worked out how old I was.
Which was?
I was 16. But I had the idea from when I was 14. I was, 16 realized I was underage, and my school somehow found out I was in the paper as well, and put my articles all down the corridor. So it's kind of, I didn't tell them about it. They just as you went to assembly, everyone was like, your teacher's pet. Because my articles were all down there.
That's amazing though, right? At school, that's pretty amazing.
The only pressure I felt is then afterwards, because I was excelling at English at school, that when it came to doing our final exams, teachers were coming up to me and telling me that they had bets on me. In the
for what?
Yeah, to get an A, right? Oh, you're getting an A, and I'm like, oh, no pressure then.
Yeah, I know,
right? And I I can't do this with these people. This is a
Yeah.
Catholic convent school. I don't really think you should be betting
Yeah.
in the staff room.
There's so many rights and practices that have been broken there, isn't there?
The nun's going, I'll have a tenner on V. I'm good for 5. Give me 20.
That's amazing. What a story that is. Again, this is kind of like everyone calls hip hop the young person's game. But no, it's just nice to see that there were people out there like just actively trying to take part and like, report on it back then, and people like myself benefited. One of the things I always ask every guest is, what's the least hip hop thing you've done in the last 24 hours?
I think hip hop is everywhere though now. It's
Yeah.
So
What?
everything is hip hop. Hip hop is everything.
Yes. Yeah.
But if we're really going to push it real good.
That's great. That's a sick reference.
I had a flu jab this morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's probably least hip hop. Yes,
Yeah,
I'll give you that. Yeah,
that's kind of like you got to a certain age and you've got,
Jay-Z's probably having flu jabs though, isn't he? He must have, right?
Yeah,
so you think, it's that moments we don't see, isn't it, of all the people that we used to love. So yeah, okay, I like that. That's a good answer. That's a great answer. Okay, so we're going to dive in. Right, Mama Said Knock You Out. I've got a little intro here for the people who don't know about the album. I want them to get to know about the album. So I'm going to give a quick intro and then we'll dive into why you think you should get into Crate 808. Let's take it back to August 27th, 1990. It's the turn of the decade and hip-hop is shape-shifting towards one of the greatest time periods in musical history. In the midst of this transition stands rap's first solo superstar, a damager, microphone manager that cold-crushed and bruised and bandaged all amateurs, LL Cool J. After already changing the game with his 1985 debut album Radio, LL had let it be known that he was already one of the best to do it. But things aren't all calm and steady for Cool James. Coming off the back of a lukewarm reception to his third record, Walking Like a Panther, LL had been ripped for becoming way too poppy and having an arsenal of only boasty rhymes. His response? To go back to the drawing board, bring legendary producer Marley Marl on board and drop his magnus opus, Mama Said Knock You Out. Certifying classic status through its amazing title track hit single, this record was a booming statement that LL could roll with the punches, bring more smooth love songs to the masses, all while sticking to the roots of the culture. It was time for LL to eat up MCs once more, whilst rocking his peers and putting suckers in fear. Causing damage to all outspoken rappers, Cool J spat over a brilliant sonic tapestry full of soulful funk samples and building a springboard to launch himself into the 90s hip-hop landscape. So V, I would love to know, why do you think this album should be in Crate 808?
The fact that it just was so sonically perfect sounding. At the time, it was, Marley Marl was great on the production.
Yeah.
From the first line, the second line, we'll say, because the first line's an ad lib. The second line of "Don't Call This a Comeback." I've been here for years. This guy's only 22, and he's into his 4th album, and he's like, I've been here for years. He's messed up with Walking with a Panther, and he's come back to say, here I am.
Yeah.
Everything about this album apparently is some kind of it was just happened by coincidence.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be the album. It wasn't supposed to be a album, and it just came about that LL Cool J got called into Marley Marl's rap show. He said, I like Jingling Baby. He goes, but it needs a remix.
Yeah.
I want to do the remix. And LL was like, yeah, actually, I think it does need a remix. You're right.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to hear that. So they went in, did the remix of Jingling Baby, and then they went out clubbing. And then they carried on going out and coming back and actually, let's do this and let's do this. Before you know it, there were 8 tracks deep into this. And then you've got Booming System, which is sampled from another track on the album called, I think it's Cheesy Rap Blues.
Cheesy Rap Blues. Yeah.
So he actually references himself.
That's amazing.
In Booming System.
Yeah.
So he's got a line in there that goes, cars drive by with a booming system. And Marley said, actually, that was a good title for a song. So they went, okay, let's go and make...
Sampled himself.
Yeah. So they sampled that bit, cars drive by with a booming system. Because they were going out clubbing after when they were going back and forth, the big tune was On Vogue, Hold On. Which obviously came out officially in the spring of 1990, and this comes out a few months later. Hold On by On Vogue was, you could go out to a club and hear that song maybe 2 or 3 times in a night. It was like Soul to Soul's Back to Life.
Back to Life, yeah.
That when that came out, every time you opened up your window, a car went by, everyone was playing that. And so, it went, they'd crossed over to America by which point. So that all over the globe, everyone was, so En Vogue, Hold On was, I guess, the Americans' answer to it. And it was dope. You still put that on now. And, people of a certain age just like, it's like the erection selection all over the club, So Booming System is obviously sampling En Vogue, and it just fit perfectly because then obviously in a club you can segue from En Vogue.
So do you think Marley was thinking that? Marley was thinking like, do you know what? This will bang in a club. It was like this is for the clubs right now, and this is how we could, because that's a really interesting producer's point of view, because you're going out every night. So to think of a DJ's perspective where you're like, do you know what would mix really well with this, and making it with that kind of creative outlook, rather than, well, to be fair, creative outlook generally on this album is pretty mad, because some people have like a concept, even like Def Jam would be like, no, we're going to have these producers and we want this kind of song, we want this kind of single. Instead it seems very much more kind of free, off the top of the dome type of thing that LL was doing here. I mean, my first LL album was Mr. Smith. Like that's I was quite young. Mr. Smith was the thing that got me into LL, apart from the single Mama Said Knock You Out. That was the one I had down lyrically like as a kid. So I just wanted to know what you thought, like, if Walking Like a Panther really deserved all the hate.
No, I don't. No. I don't. I think he started getting hate from I Need Love.
Right. Okay.
And I remember at the time the number of silly people who go, oh, he's gay.
Yeah.
What, because he needs love? I have embarrassed myself on television. My dad wouldn't talk to me after I talked about LL Cool J, and watching him was it just the Def Jam tour? Yeah. So he came on, and I talked about it on his Channel 4 show. And I said, and he made me feel quite moist. And then, so my dad, anytime I was like it was going to be on something that
you're on TV, yeah.
Yeah, and so he'd gone and told everybody at work, oh no,
your
dad on TV again. And then so he's watched it and he's like, he's probably like, you filthy.
How's he, don't watch her again on TV. Next time she's on, just
so when I said to him, so Dad, so did you see that? And he's like, he just kept on changing the subject.
Of course he did. How are you going to get out of that, Joey? That's amazing. Oh God. Oh my God, that's amazing. But this is the thing, with LL has this effect, right? And like, looking at it from my perspective, it was like, Mama Said, like, it was like rough and rugged and raw, and I didn't really see the love songs thing. Maybe I just didn't really come across them as a kid. And then when you start hearing his albums, he had like a certain formula. And even at 16, you can understand what the LL formula is. The thing with Mama Said Knock You Out, though, it has that formula, yes. I think it's less blatant when I listen to this album now. Like, there's the blatant Around the Way Girl and 6 Minutes of Pleasure, which is an incredible song. There are those moments, but I think in this one, what I found was the sonic landscape, like the sampling. It's dense. It's really dense, but it's also like you can revisit and tracks grow on you quickly. I find with this album, stuff like Eat 'Em Up, I'll Chill, that track, Mr. Goodbar as well. Like, those tracks are tracks that kind of have a timeless quality to them. How did you discover the album? Like, when you first heard this, like, what were you doing? Like, were you reporting when you did this? So did you review it for a publication, or was it? I
was asked to interview him for it. So it was I believe it was in Record Mirror. But it was definitely on the cover of Blues and Soul. So I had a column in Blues and Soul called In Effect, which I've already said one of my besties now, Malou Halassa, but I didn't know her before she gave me my rap column in Blues and Soul, which Westwood had before her. And,
oh wow, okay.
So it was like this
lineage.
Yeah. I haven't actually seen the article since I don't know when. Haven't read it. I don't tend to go back and read over stuff again. It feels a bit like indulgent and a bit sort of, I don't know. I guess it's like watching your conception sex tape or something. It's just I'd rather just like not see it. It's just done. It's done. But it is online someplace, not the whole article, but the cover. So I'm now intrigued
to know what it was.
To go, what did I remember? Usually I had this sort of pugilistic way with a lot of rappers that I interviewed. I got known as a bit of a ball buster. it's stuff like, 'cause there was so much sexism and silliness going on. I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. But so I'm sat down with LL. So I've got this kind of, I'm a bit excited, because it's LL and he's kind of hot and
Yeah.
And at the same time, he's walked in with this hat. I later find out it's his granny's hat.
Sorry?
Yeah.
He's wearing his grandma's hat.
He's wearing his grandma's hat. So
Right, okay.
I'm kind of going in there going, okay, I'm going to just like,
Yeah.
I'm going to take the mickey out of you a bit. And
You were already geared to be that way then when you were into an interview?
yeah, I'm going
That's wicked. I love that.
Well, I don't know. I was just young and mischievous, maybe. I don't know. But
Yeah.
And I had a lot of respect for the album already. So I was like, wanted to say, love the album, love the cuts, blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
But then I kept on like bugging out with his hat that he's wearing. And I said, so is that what Kangol are doing now? Because remember, he used to wear all the Kangol hats. I said, so who's signing at Kangol? That's kind of, And he's like, well, you don't like my hair? And I was like, mate, it just, I said, are you losing your hair? Why do you always wear a hat? And he's going, no, I'm not losing my hair. And I said, well, no one ever sees your head. So what's going on? Why do you always wear a hat? And why are you wearing that? And he's like, you really don't like my hat? I was like, mate, it looks like, I don't know, it looks like something some old woman would wear to the market. I said, just this sort of velvety, I think it was maroon as well.
It's interesting.
And so he goes, so when I said, it looks like something an old woman would wear to the market, he goes, that's just what it is. This is my grandmother's hat. And I was like, why are you wearing your granny's hat, man? And then, of course, he starts telling me the story of the title. Mama said, knock you out. Mama referring to his grandmother. My maternal grandmother, we also used to call Mama. So I can, relate to that. So, he says, she's unhappy with the way that people have been dissing me. I am the king of this. And she said, knock them out. Come on, you can do it. I'll knock them out. Show them what you got.
That's mad.
And so he starts revealing more. And he goes, and I respect my grandmother. And this brings me, I feel like when I'm away from home, my granny is here with me. I'm kind of looking at that because I'm thinking, I've dissed his granny's hat. And he's saying, I'm very comfortable with my sexuality. I can wear this hat and I pull it off. I think I pull it off really well. He's kind of also then kicking back at me and going, so now that you notice my granny's hat, what size are your shoes? What size are your feet? Not mouth size? And I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry. And then he starts telling me that he lives at home with his granny and his mum.
Even then, so he's like 22, 4 records in. He's, wow, okay.
So we've got enough money to move out. And he's like, I don't want to move out. I love these women.
First of all, that's turned out to be a really good opening question then from yourself. You went in about the hat and it's actually turned out he's told a really good story. But yeah, it's really interesting. He was like that. I mean, did you find him quite, how many times did you interview him generally?
I think twice, I think. I don't think it could have been more than that.
Because if you're looking at it from a purely listener point of view, very braggadocious, very boasty, very confident of himself and not afraid to show it, especially with his top off and stuff like that. But like, I'm interested to know if he was like that just generally. But when you were talking to him, was he like that, or was?
Definitely, he exuded a lot of confidence. There's very few people that I've sat in a room with, and I'm just like, he's supremely. At 22, a young 22, I guess he'd worked a lot on his body, and he's got. Apparently, his granny and his mother and his granddad. I think his granddad had passed by then because he was only talking about the women in his household. Yeah, I think that they'd been just really loving and giving him such self-confidence.
But the respect is amazing. Obviously, then you listen to his tracks and you're like, some of those love songs can veer into, oh my God, is that how men kind of saw women? Like even in this, I know we have a section here talking about like your favorite bars and stuff like that. But I remember there's one bar on here where I was like, that's just not the way you would talk to a woman at all. There's a line about just assuring a woman, I'm not going to rape you.
Yeah. oh God, yeah,
like I'm not going to rape you, and you're like, what? Sorry, what?
just sort of throw it in there. Like,
like
I remember hearing that and thinking, why? And then I've listened to it again recently, and it's just like casually thrown in.
I know.
Don't worry, I don't need to rape you.
Yeah, and that kind of thing where I was like, wow, like he has a respect for women, as you've said there in real life, but it's just amazing how skewed the whole hip hop like was. Because I was thinking, if you were going to assure any woman of anything, don't mention it.
Yeah,
like, don't.
We were going good. We were really, really going good,
and then bang.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Lady Wide-On has gone.
Yeah. What a way to put it. But this is what I mean. I think that kind of NWA obviously being big at that time, and you do have acts like Public Enemy who are completely opposite. But like Ice Cube's got his solo out at this time, and it's just really interesting to see the dichotomy of hip hop when you're talking to him one-on-one, and he has his respect for women in his life, and then sometimes the thing I always found about LL, it veered into like a kind of almost creepy guy sometimes in some of his tracks, a bit later especially, but just verging away from LL for a second, you were saying there that you were doing interviews with other people as well, and you were quite pugilistic. I love that word where you were saying pugilistic.
The Schoolie D was one of the ones where he just got my back up so much.
Really?
Because I heard, "Am I Black Enough for You?" Which again I thought went great. Great title. It seemed like a great concept. Banging my head. Yeah, liking this. Yeah, like this track. And then it comes in with the riff from Voodoo Child, Jimi Hendrix. And I'm like, this is good. This is inspired sample. And then there's a chant: "Pussy ain't nothing but the meat on the bone. You fuck it and suck it and leave it alone." Right now that you've heard that, like I have, like decades later, every now and then it just comes into my head like this earworm of like, oh, that's just foul. And then it just and it just all the way through it. And and you are foul, bruv. So I interviewed him and I said, "This is so good," and then you spoil it with that track.
What did he say?
And he's like, "Well, what do you mean? It's a good track. It's like, everything's good on that album." It's like, no, it's just so wrong. It's just so nasty.
What was the general?
Like, and he's come out and he's like, "Well, you got these." There's a term that you're probably too young to remember. Skeezer. It's like a slut. Hip hop went for a slut. There's all these skeezers and hoes, and they come up to you and they, after a gig, and they act like their pussy is made of gold. And it's like, I tell them straight, your pussy ain't nothing. I can have any girl.
A lot of rappers, from what I've seen, including Ice Cube himself, have that kind of similar argument, which is like, when we're calling women bitches, we're not calling every woman a bitch.
They'd always say that. To me, like I'm supposed to go, "Oh, thank you so much, kind sir." And so he was saying that to me, like all of these guys was going, "Oh, I'm not talking about you." And I said, "Because what kind of women are you meeting that you think that's okay?" And he said, "Well, they're not like you. They come out and they're all at the gigs and they'll just throw themselves at you, and the interview gets worse." Right, if you can imagine,
right? Oh God,
it gets worse.
Right,
and so he keeps defending this pussy ain't nothing, and I said, but it's just so, it's so the whole thing's so visceral. I said, you sound like you're actually hanging around with the wrong type of woman if you have that. And then we start talking about him grabbing his crotch like a lot of rappers were doing. I don't know if they don't still do that. I don't think.
No, actually, probably not as much now.
No,
not as much crotch grabbing.
A lot of crotch grabbing. And so when you're on stage, do you need to go to the toilet or something? Because that's the only time I ever see like my younger members of my family, holding their willies because I need wee wee on TV. I need wee wee, right? And it's like, no, you just grab, you just say, yeah. And I'm like, Are you stuffing down there? You're putting socks down there to make that as big as... Why are you doing this?
Yeah.
He said, every man does this. Every man grabs his crotch. And I'm like, I do have males in my family. I've gone to school with some. I've met quite a few.
We're surrounded by them.
Yeah. It's like just under half of the world population. And I said, apart from you guys, and it's just like the way you women, you wiggle your ass.
What?
Of course.
It's a really weird...
Yeah, and I said, were you checking my ass as I came in? He's going, no, I didn't need to. I just know you wiggle your ass.
It's a really weird world view. Like such a weird...
It gets worse, though. It gets worse. Yeah. And I do not wiggle my ass. And if you were checking out my ass, I'm really not happy about it because I don't want to go there. Right? The press officer is in the room. And he's like, Heather, Shovey, walk across the room. And I said, Heather, you don't have to do this. Heather, you really don't have to don't do this, Heather. And he's going, Heather, show you how you wiggle your ass. I said, I'm sure Heather doesn't wiggle her ass.
And this is the press officer saying this?
No, this is
Schoolie D.
Schoolie D saying to the press officer, who's female, that she needs to, I didn't often have press officers sitting on the interviews, but every now and then you think, I don't mind, because otherwise you're going to just be sitting out in a corridor or whatever with nothing to do. So, I think it was in a hotel. So often they've got nothing to do apart from prop up the bar or, in the daytime, which is not a good look. Yeah. So eventually, even though I'm saying, girl, don't do this. Come on, for the sister, don't. I don't want you to do this, girl. I guess she's thinking, he's really my, he's my boss of sorts. So she walks across the room and he's going, look at that ass. Look at that. I said, I don't want to do this. I feel very uncomfortable.
So first of all, how did that end? Like, did you just think, this interview isn't going to happen, or did you just plow on through with the interview?
I plowed on through and I wrote it, how it was. Yeah, pretty much. There's, I think, only one interview that I said, now we need to stop, and that was with Ice-T.
Oh, really?
Not Ice-T. No, Ice-T. I was going to get mixed up with Ice Cube. Ice Cube, such a gentleman. Ice-T, on the other hand, that was a phone interview. And it was so long ago when things came through on fax.
Oh, God, yeah.
You'd get a big black line or a big white line come through the fax, and things came through and in the wrong order, and bits would be missing. Apparently, he'd got a fax saying, this is who you're going to call. This is the magazine, blah, blah, blah. So I start asking him at some point about Darlene, his wife at the time, him using her ass
on the cover, right?
Holding a gun on the cover and stuff. And I said, well, a lot of people don't like this because it's really kind of backwards of like using a woman to sell. That's your woman. Why? Surely you want to keep her under wraps. No, I want to show everybody. I've made them jealous. I don't know if my American accent is anything, but that's not his voice anyway. He's a lot more sort of laid back and anyway. He's like, I just want to make them jealous and let them know my wife's got the best booty in the world. She's got that. And sex sells, right? So I'm going to have that, and I'm having sex. This is who I'm having sex with. You want this? I said, well, a lot of feminists don't like this. A lot of feminists, think it's and he's like, who cares what feminists think? They're all big, fat, hairy dykes. They're probably jealous. They wish they had a body like Darlene's.
Jeez, okay.
So I said to him, but what if I told you I was a feminist? And he's going, hey, you're a feminist guy? And I think we'd been talking about 20 minutes, half an hour by which point I said, you're a feminist guy? And I was completely like, what?
That's so
Scooby-Doo?
Weird.
What?
Yeah.
I said, I know I tend to have a bit of a low, deep voice, but
Come on.
Yeah. Because he'd read the facts. He goes, well, you're Vic Marshall, yeah?
Oh.
Yeah. So the E had come out as a C, and he goes like, oh, you're a feminist guy, way to get pussy. That's good. I'm going to try that, way to get pussy. Yeah. How does that work for you? How's that working for you?
Oh my God, what? What?
And I think, you think I'm a man? Right? And he's, Vic Marshall. And I'm like, my name is V. My name is Vie Marshall. I am a woman. I was born female. Yeah. I've got all the bits that say that I'm female. I can't believe, and I'm like really getting upset because I'm like, I've just been transgendered by an Ice-T.
Just stop there. I don't think this is going to get a bit better. I've been transgendered by Ice-T. Like, oh my God, yeah.
I would hope he's changed now. I would hope he's grown up a lot.
I'm sure he has. And again, you have to remember that people are young, and a lot of these artists were kids, I suppose, and they're brought up. But I think you have to learn fast, right? Like, if you're in that industry, like to learn fast to get on and make contacts. And
So, the irony with Ice-T is that he's got a girl's name. It's like Tracy Marrow is his real name, and he's transgendering me without my permission.
But actually, just thinking about that, then you must have loved the fact that LL went at him at this in this album. That is a heavy diss. Like when he goes in, what's this diss again? I've got to get this. This is amazing. It's one of the best disses. So this is what Cool Mo D, Ice-T, MC Hammer, all of them going at it, and then because Ice-T's Jericho was incredible. Like
well, he was headed straightened. He had it bone straight with a ponytail.
He did. He had that.
So he had it relaxed.
He had it relaxed. Yeah.
Jerry curls are the curly, greasy thing.
True.
That was Ice Cube's.
That was Ice Cube's little look. And then obviously you have LL going in there like, give me a woof. Now you cut loose from that Jerry curl juice. When you listen back to that now, it's just like, oh my God. And doesn't he call Ice-T like a raccoon? He calls him a raccoon on this as well. And I'm like, To Break of Dawn, if anyone's wanting to revisit this album, that is one of the best diss tracks. LL is performing at an elite level.
I think he says that Darlene is the best thing on the album.
He does.
As well. So.
Yeah. He says, use your wife to sell copies of your album, which is essentially what you're trying to tell him. So LL obviously took a leaf out of your book and just put it on wax. Fair play to him.
This is TY and you are rocking with the amazing Crate 808 podcast. So listen, enjoy this week's episode, but remember to subscribe, catch a vibe, and just let it all just melt inside your body and catch the essence of hip hop, baby. All right.
I'd like to know how you got into hip hop. Like what was it? What was the first few things you'd heard where you were like, "This is for me"?
My brother was a really good dancer.
Okay,
like the robotics, and then he took sort of break dancing a bit too literally. He sort of damaged his back, and
Oh wow.
Yeah, this. I think it's constantly amazing how anybody actually became good at break dancing. It's like spinning on your head. How are you not?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so loving stuff like Pac Jam and Nucleus but there was what's it called? The Crown by Gary Bird and the GB Experience. So like Stevie Wonder co-wrote that, and it's the full length of it's like a 10-minute song informing people about Black history and pyramids and this, and just who invented this and who invented that, and saying to Black kids, your history doesn't start at slavery.
This sounds incredible. I've not heard this song.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta. It's it was wonderful. I was sat there as a little kid in the living room listening to it. It got into the charts over here because in Reading you didn't really get much.
Yeah,
by way of sort of hip hop and stuff. It's only 40 miles away from London, but it was at the time kind of like the sticks. Reading was kind of we desperately wanted to be in London because it was only 40 miles. Yeah. Anyway, so that song thankfully got into the charts, and it switched stuff on for me because later on I went to managed to sort of get this scholarship for an exclusive convent girls' school. Yeah, I was the chocolate in the milk. I was the only Black girl at school. So I couldn't get into any trouble at all because it was like spot me a mile off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it helped me a lot, because I'm like, okay, I feel suddenly I'm puffing up my chest. I've grown a foot taller just by listening to this song.
That's amazing. And then when you came to actively participating, like going out clubbing and stuff like that not only did you write, but you actively put on nights and stuff like that as well. I mean, that's amazing to me that a kid coming from that can then go on to do that.
It was also a boyfriend I had when we moved up to London. He was a musician and a huge collector of records, and he'd bought Public Enemy album, the first Public, and would just listen to it over and over again, and before you know it, we were like, we're really into hip hop. My love for him, became my love for hip hop because he just ignited when he was listening to hip hop. Yeah. So the putting on the nights situation was club nights. I did a club called Muthaland, had this idea, and then called upon various other women within the music and writing industry. So there was Malou Halas, who I've mentioned already. She was part of Muthaland, the godmother. Then there's a woman called Hannah Ford who'd written for Soul Underground and Hip Hop Connection. Wendy Kay, if you look in any old Hip Hop Connections, there's like a demo review thing that she used to do.
Oh, okay.
Basically giving people advice, about how to get their demos heard.
That's wicked.
And taken seriously by a record company. She worked at Sleeping Bag Records. Later on went to work at Ninja Tune. There's a woman called Miss Bliss who was on the radio. She's also American. So there was like 3 Americans. And then finally asked a DJ called DJ Lane to be part of it. And the reason why it was all women was we wanted to get a regular rap night in the West End. We'd contacted all the record companies because what we want to do is do something like the American parts of Muthaland had seen in America. Of, you know, you've got block parties, people on the microphone. We wanted to showcase British talent. We wanted to get record companies to come down, management companies to come down and spot them. Rap had already started gaining this sort of like rap reputation. So we went in there as women. First of all, I'm to convince like the club owners that we weren't wanting to do sort of like a lesbian night or whatever. Yeah. They never saw a group of women saying, "Oh, can we come in and run a night?" So yeah,
it's random. Yeah,
or just like, "Oh, we just want to do like a woman's guild thing," or come and do some knitting or whatever. Hen nights.
Hen nights. Yeah. Hen nights. Yeah.
They would only give us Monday nights. First of all, pretty much every club we were going to, once we said, even though they saw us all and we all powered suited up and everything, and they were all saying no when they found out it was rap. We were doing it, so I said, we're going to promise on the flyers it's going to be non-racist, non-sexist, non-violent. So that's what it said. And we had I talked to KRS-One, and he said, okay, you guys can be the UK chapter of the Stop the Violence movement.
Oh, wow.
So we had that. And Bambaataa had said, and you can be the leader of the Zulu nation in England. I didn't really take that very seriously. But, so we got, okay, this is what we'll put those on the flyers. And the Evening Standard called us the most right honest rap club in history.
Okay.
So yeah, we started off a club called Woody's, deep into West London, because none of the West End clubs were having us at all. So we got more and more press, more and more radio and television and stuff, and finally we got the Borderline Club on just off Charing Cross Road.
Yeah,
and that was what we thought our perfect venue. We had people were coming, just as we'd planned it.
Yeah,
we were various people like Ty,
Ty, for sure, yeah.
Oh, you've had him on the show,
yeah.
He had his first break at Muthaland. It's the first time he'd ever sort of got on a stage.
That's amazing.
Another guy who ended up becoming a DJ and a radio presenter, Big Ted, also got his first break there. We were sponsored by Shaw microphones, Wrangler jeans, British Nights, Purdy's Elixir. We had a whole heap of sponsors.
That's amazing.
The record companies were just, so every time somebody got on stage, we would go, okay, here's your microphone for winning the rap battle, and like 10 of the best new rap records, and here's a Muthaland t-shirt and whatever.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, some people who used to come down to the club a lot kind of two people would stand in the same place on my left hand side, and I thought, why do they always stand there and why do they look so serious? And then when I wasn't on stage, or one of the other women, they'd get us around the corner and say, so what are you girls doing? Why can't men be part of this? Like, well, there's men here, there's men DJing. We've got we got Pogo, and we got this person, we got Cutmaster Swift, Business from London Posse. We had London Posse actually did a set there. Son of Noise did a set there. We had Cookie Gangster. Lots of people would come from both sides of the Atlantic, and they're like, "Oh, you're all lesbians," I'm like, "Oh God, where?"
The same thing. Same thing. Yeah.
And it was just very disparaging and stuff. And we were, it was all going well until I can't remember if it was we did a Muthaland's awards or Muthaland Awards. But I don't know if it was that night, but I remember it very vividly. The place was packed and the fire door kept on opening. Yeah, then I kept on going up to the guys and saying, come on, we've taken a lot of time to be here. We've done a lot of research. We basically begged to get the spot.
Yeah.
Right? So don't mess it up by something so silly. You can't have the fire door open. They were like, come in, and then they'd open it again as soon as I walked away. And just as I was about to go on stage to introduce another rap battle, some guy put his arm around my shoulder. And I was thinking, it's just one of the, the guys in place sort of saying, hey, you want to give me some love or whatever. So I felt this was our safe place. This guy, and I looked around, I thought, I don't know him. And he just went, he had something to my neck. Yeah. And he just went, you're going to die tonight. And I didn't look down because I'm thinking, I know there's something at my neck. I'm not looking down. And so I just somehow adrenaline, because I thought, because we had everything really well timed of what time the next, such and, Elaine would play a record and give me a nod and go, you need to get on stage to introduce. So I somehow just got myself off, got on stage and went, and the next rap battle is, actually, no, it wasn't Elaine DJing. So I think it might have been Pogo or Business DJ. But I just took the microphone away and went, some bastard just threatened to kill me. And I just carried on, talking and saying, who's next to come up? And it wasn't until I finished, that the other girls from Muthaland sort of gathered around. Like, what did you say to Elaine? What's going on? And I said, some fucker just said he was going to kill me. Next thing is that the people who'd been jumping, going into the bar exit, all bum rushed the bar. They bum rushed the bar, and
that was it.
That was it. I got told by I call them my brothers there, for the people who used to come there. They got told who it was that bum rushed. Anyway, we were told after that, yeah, you can't handle this night. And then shortly after, there's another thing doing exactly our format, our night. And yes, I've kind of got like a bee in my bonnet back, because at first I just went, okay, you know what? Yeah. Peace. We did what we wanted to do. But I don't like the idea that these people have done what we were doing. And I kind of let it go, actually, for ages. Until recently, I found out that they were going around saying that they had started it, they had conceived the idea. And there was nothing going on there before. We were the first. Yeah. And I'm glad you're here to say that. That I said at the top of the show, it was like, we don't get a lot of info from a lot of people who have done so much work in this, in this scene. We had Rodney P on and Black Twang and Ty himself. And one thing I came away from when I talked to those guys, even though I was not part of it, I could feel the love of the UK hip hop scene. And a lot of people who listen to this podcast are in America or Australia or in Europe, and I've had feedback from people like, what I love is I did not know this about the UK. So the story you're telling me now, hopefully there's people out there that are getting a bit of a different idea that it was kind of like the Wild West, in those areas. And it took a lot of people with a lot of balls to go out there and do this shit. I mean, this is, again, just kind of ties into everything we do, like in the scene now. Look how big it is. Look how many people are doing so well in it. And I've been a spectator for 99% of this whole thing. So just looking at it, I'm like, wow, it's amazing we're here. But you can never forget the fact that, look how long it took a bunch of women to do that. And I kind of wish there was more of that now. And there maybe is, because I'm a bit older. I don't go raving as much and stuff like that. But I think the music's definitely reflected it. I think the music, like, if you listen to someone like Lorcana, there's a respect in that hip-hop he makes compared to, like you're saying, Ice-T's, Ice Cubes and people like that. And 15, 20 years ago, you wouldn't have seen in hip-hop. So I think there has been some very small glacial steps towards it, like a kind of, from my kind of limited perspective. But I'd love to know what you think. I think it's huge now, the difference now that sorry, I've interrupted
you. No, absolutely. Go. That's what I was asking you.
When myself and others were first writing about hip hop, it was considered it was just going to be a fad. And I've got a book at home. I think it was sort of lists various genres and who's who in those genres of music, and then it comes to rap. I think it's the A to Z or the A to Z or whatever of music, and then it comes to rap, and there's a tiny little paragraph that it was just a fad kind of thing. It won't last long.
Look at us now.
Yeah, and we were writing about it. We had to explain words like diss.
Yeah,
right. And there was a press officer I remember talking to who said, "What are the Benjamins and why is it all about them?"
How do you start that?
and then when no word of a lie on Newsnight, when they're using the word diss in a headline, blah blah blah, such and such disses, blah blah, and all through Newsnight, I'm going, they are using the word diss. This is just, everyone knows it now. Everybody knows, And when the mainstream press, all the news started talking about a rap, they would always refer to rappers as the rap singer, such and such. It was so, they hadn't got a clue what was going on.
Yeah. But it's like any shift in music generally, right? Punk, everything, rock and roll in the 50s and 60s. Like people take the mainstream will take a long time to get there.
Yeah. Now you've got, I think a lot of people still don't understand what's going on, because you've got really inappropriate songs on adverts now selling stuff. Soulja Boy, Crank That, which he claims now, obviously he's made a lot of money, that it was not about Superman in that hoe. You know what Superman in the hoe is? And Walker's Crisp, Anti-Up.
Anti-Up's on a Walker's Crisp advert?
Yeah, it was. And what else have they got? They've got Dead Prez, Bigger Than Hip Hop.
Yeah.
Is on a car advert. And one I like, you probably missed, it's a new one, you probably missed it if you don't listen really, really carefully. Shimmy Shimmy Ya, ODB, is on a Smirnoff ad.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But they reworked it. So you hear the piano bit, and then it's not him doing the vocals. I think it's like some choir or something, you know.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, shimmy, shimmy, ya, shimmy, ya.
Well, that's when you know you've truly made it, is when capitalism just swallows it. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. And I'm not sure how I feel about that with my... I try to be very open-minded with a lot of things, but I don't know, sometimes I feel like this is the culture, and you have that, you know, these are mine things. That, you know, that feeling, which this is mine, I don't want anyone... Like, now I love the fact that everyone's into it, but when it gets to the point that you're selling things that, you know, have nothing to do with the culture,
nothing to do with it, and then I think must be some, you know, maybe it's the same ad agency that's doing all these things, and it's somebody's really into hip hop and just wants to get ODB's family fed
some money,
but there's a Haribo advert. Right? Yeah, it's not strictly hip hop, but it's you know, when the kids are doing the dialogue and they've got adults mouthing it. So there's a bit where this kid, I like Haribo because it's as squishy as a big fat pom pom. It's been on for years. I'm like, do you know? What? No one obviously knows what pom pom means, right? This little kid, where does this kid heard? Has he heard his parents playing? And go, I like it. He's basically saying Haribo is as squishy as a fat vagina.
That's mad. I've not heard that one, but yes, it stands out.
It's like the goth. I think they're goths or rockers.
Right. Yeah.
Listen to it again. It probably just goes straight over most people's heads.
But when you hear it,
being from a Caribbean background, I'm like, he just said it's as squishy as a big fat pom pom.
Well, let's go back to LL for sure. Let's go back to this album. A few things I just wanted to ask you specifically. It's the kind of cusp of it's literally starting the decade. Where's the standing of this album? Like, what does it say about the 80s? Like, I know you shouldn't know everything by like years and decades, but like this is moving from the 80s to the 90s. What do you think this album kind of has in it that kind of represents this is an 80s artist going into the 90s? Was there anything in it that... Because when I listen to it, it's very traditional. Like, it's very sample heavy. It's almost more traditional than his other out, like Radio, especially. Radio is quite different.
I'm looking. I think some of it kind of sounds a bit dated to me now, but I still like it. I don't know whether it's because it's like a reminiscing thing, but the title track I still have in my my song list. When I'm walking down the road, it's on my phone. It's on my if I've attempt to go to the gym, Mama Said Knock You Out is
the one, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
that song's permeated pop culture, I think, though, even probably from Jump. I'm not sure how it was when it first came out, but essentially when I was 13, I knew every lyric, and that had been out for like 3 or 4 years. Everyone knew that track. I think the thing that LL did there, when you're permeating pop culture to, I think Serena Williams is using it recently in like an advert and stuff, it just makes you think that when LL was performing at that level, there's not many who could touch him. And his standing in the game. So before we stepped into this podcast, I was talking to a few hip hop heads in the office, a little bit younger than myself, and quite like disparaging about LL, kind of like, but they're younger than me. So they were more like, oh yeah, he's really corny now, isn't he? He does like some rap sync battle or lip sync battle or something
with John Legend's Mrs. Chrissy Teigen.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I don't watch much of that TV, so I'm not sure.
I've seen it, and I think they've got a British version. They had a British version. I don't know if it's done with Jimmy Carr.
Step down.
When I first saw it, I thought, what is the purpose of this
lip sync thing? Yeah, to each their own. It's not my thing.
Yeah. And he does NCIS, whatever, as well.
Which again, get paid, do your thing. I'm all for that. I don't mind, because it's not really detracting from my TV habits or whatever. But it's just really interesting that that was their thing, and I was like, but yeah, man, like Mr. Smith, that was my album. I was like, Mr. Smith's a banging album. Like,
possibly a lot of them. These kids don't even know that he was a rapper and stuff. And,
so this is it. So it was all to the point that, oh no, he has, like, on a playlist, you wouldn't skip him, but you won't actively go out and listen to his albums. As LL's standing in the game goes, does he get into your top 5 of all time? And if not, I would love to be.
No, probably not. But
what's your 5?
Ooh, let's see. Does he get into? So the thing is, he I don't know, where would he go in there?
I mean, the top 5 change
actually,
every day.
He's got, there's quite a few of his songs that I like. So maybe he would do, but I have never really thought of that. I should have done, I guess. Like, you know, some of the Doing It Well. Doing it.
Oh man, doing it.
Yeah. And having to explain to my younger members of the family that he's talking about doing homework. That's what he's doing. Doing it well. Yeah.
That's a great guy.
The woman who's making that noise is, and she's got some cramp. That's why she's making those noises.
Do you know what? That's the thing about LL. Sometimes it's so explicit in nature, it is a bit uncomfortable. Not gonna lie. There's a lot of sometimes I'm like, oh god, she's still moaning. This is amazing. But like, she's still moaning. Like, I understand 6 minutes of pleasure, but Jesus, man. Like, but I would genuinely, just because we do ask people anyway, where would your top 5 be at the moment? Like, if I was to ask you today, tomorrow it might change.
Right. Okay.
Hit me. What we got?
Well, this is self-indulgent, but I love him anyway. I love his voice. I love the production of his albums. And apparently, I've been told by Ty and other people that I've been name-checked on quite a few of his songs.
Okay.
Roots Maneuver, who I think is just amazing. There's so much about his music that I love, and the tone of his voice.
He's unique, definitely. Yeah.
A genius in so many ways. Busta Rhymes I used to love.
Yes.
Yeah, I used to love the energy when he was in Leaders of New School, when he was on Scenario, Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah.
When he comes in and he's growling like a dungeon dragon, you're like, what? Did he just actually go growl? That's just mad. Yeah?
Well, I love that.
MTV Raps could see how much of he was the standout star of Leaders in the New School, and apparently they always used to just want to put the camera on him when they were doing interviews.
Oh, no wonder they got a little bit.
They broke up live on MTV Raps. It was a recorded interview, but they broke up in the middle of that interview.
That's amazing.
Without going off and arguing, and Buster says, "No, do you want to take that camera? We don't record this bit."
Wow.
And then they show the piece, and then the voiceovers, and unfortunately, Leaders of the New School disbanded during this. But he was, I think now I have not very much interest in him. He seems to, just looks like he's just got too much munchy.
I think he's just enjoying life. I think Buster's just enjoying life right now.
He said some dodgy stuff a while back, and I just
did he really?
Anyway,
okay.
I
mean, this is the thing with all the rappers as they age. Like, some age well, some age not so good, but we always hold them to the memory we have of them, right? So this is the thing. It's like, I mean, Buster gets a lot of references. A lot of people put him in their top 5s on this pod.
Yeah, he was just crazy, great energy, and I interviewed him. I think the first interview, I was begging ID magazine to feature him. Was it ID or was it The Face? One of them, and I said, Wuhan is getting straight into the top 10. It's just such I had to begged them. I said, if it doesn't get into the top 10, don't pay me, but please. And so they finally, anyways, I interview him on the phone again. He's so late, and then he sort of, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And then he mentions Spliff Star. It was all my assistants. I said, okay, I know what you were doing then. Why you're late? You're fucking phoned off your box. Right? Yes. So, top 5. Mike J. Okay. From the Demon Boys.
Yeah, Demon Boys get a lot of love.
So if it's bad because then there's 2 rappers in Demon Boys, and I'm going Mike J, who's ended up doing stuff under the name Million Dan. There seemed to be a lot of money put into those videos he was doing. I'm surprised that that didn't go, and he doesn't seem to have gone further bigger than it is. I don't know what he's doing now because I haven't seen or heard. So maybe Q-Tip.
Okay, interesting one.
Yeah, I did the first review of Tribe Called Quest. For this country anyway. I bought Description of a Fool.
Oh, okay, right.
From a place called Bluebird Records that used to be around here, from a guy called Terry.
Good old Terry.
Yeah, shout out to Terry if you're listening. Yeah, he's just very distinct.
It's incredible how talented he is.
Yeah, I like and Fife, of course. Yeah,
for sure.
So yeah, they got to go in there. Lauryn Hill, she's a double threat, obviously, and the miseducation of Lauryn Hill was. It's a pity how things just went for her, and I think it's a lot of toxic, masculinity that just got that she kind of seemed to have problems and had to.
Do you reckon that's where it went?
Well, she's pretty much said that she felt like she was treated as a second-class citizen in, the Fugees. Her and I think Wyclef had a thing going on, and I remember,
a shame, man.
Remember there was a big gig where I don't know if it was just a private industry gig or whether there was just a whole lot of industry people all sat in the same thing. She was, of course, late. Well, the whole group were late. Obviously realised that I think she might have some anxiety thing going on. Everyone was sat there in the audience going, "She is so this." This is before her solo stuff came out. She's like, she is so
the star.
Yeah. What the hell are the
It literally is her and two others. Like,
it's two and
I'm not even sure. Like,
and they're backup rappers.
Like Praz, I think, has kind of made it obvious that he is kind of the businessman. So that's fair. You would not have got where you were with any of them without any of them. But yeah, the Wyclef thing. Even as a kid, I was like, yeah, I mean, his beats are good, and I do respect him. It's not like I don't respect him, but when I would listen to them records, there's only one person I'm listening to there, and that's absolutely just one of the biggest shames and gut punches in hip hop to know that she didn't go on to do more because of things like that around her.
Well, it was the record company as well. She said that she felt that she was constantly told to show her cleavage, dress up all pretty and nice, and go out and attract people. Use your sexuality, use her, her sex appeal to. She looked great in those times.
She had her lyrics were anyone could spit them, an alien could spit them. They're incredible. Like to my ear now, just her laughing in the middle of the ha ha ha, you shouldn't diss refugees. That moment, it's just like scorched onto my brain, and it's like this is interesting when you look at where this opportunity and timing, like you said yourself about like if you'd come out today, like yes, okay, so the pioneers, they're still pioneers in hip hop, but you didn't have to start things from the ground up. But when you look at someone like Rhapsody now, and I'm not sure if you've heard much of her newest stuff, but when I hear Rhapsody, she would not exist if it wasn't for Lauryn Hill. And she's great with that because she completely references all the female rappers that have paved the way. I think she did like a hip hop award, BET. It's on YouTube, and she literally just calls out everyone.
Oh, wonderful.
Calls out everyone. Queen Latifah to today, like Cardi B, everyone. And she just basically, it's almost like I mean, it's not my. It's
Can
not
you do
my
any of the noises that she does? What is it?
I'm not going there. I can't.
What is that?
I can't go there.
What is it?
But then again, if I as a male hip hop fan start to hate, I do feel that sometimes, and I feel like, well, no, I love Nicki. I love Nicki when she did her first stuff with Kanye.
Yeah.
Then she became a pop star. I don't like her because she's a pop star, not because she's a female rapper. So I'm so happy I live in a day where Rhapsody's around and she is everything.
Yeah, and it's surprising, I think when, it's the days I was doing Hip Hop Connection, Blues and Soul and all the rest of it, you didn't think that pretty much all the females would just be pushed to the side and in the background now. Even though it was male dominated, I think it was probably about 70, 30, 60, 40, male, female. You had Roxanne, Shantae was still a kid, and Queen Latifah and Moni Love were coming out with Ladies First, and you had Cookie Crew and We Papa Girl, rappers Moni Love, and MC Light, blah blah blah.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the males have eclipsed, and I don't think it's necessarily because all of the males are better.
That intrigues me about like you as a fan of LL. From my point of view with LL, I didn't really differentiate him very much to the Ice-T's and the Ice Cubes. It was more love songs rather than I want to just bone you songs. But like as a female fan, did you see a difference between him and the NWA's? Like when they talk, like his love songs are explicit, but did you feel like he kind of catered for the female?
Well, I think he was doing his version of seduction. a lot of the time, where he was just putting his humor in there. So there are some dodgy things that he said, you know. Roundaway Girl. There's an extended version of the video. You can find it on YouTube. I know if you look for the shortest version of it, that's the bit where he's got a casting couch thing going on.
Oh God, I've seen that. Yeah.
You've seen it? Yeah. And a woman comes in and he just doesn't even talk to her. He talks about her to the other guys that are there and just disses her. And then just goes off, like, you know, just completely dehumanized her. But the video that you see, or like was shown, and that got him, you know, into the Billboard top 10 or whatever it was. He's just going on with a camcorder, just like giving props to all the beautiful ladies, and sweet, that's why we love you, LL.
Yo, what's going on? This is Doc Brown. You're listening to the Crate 808 podcast. Enjoy this week's episode by all means. Just remember to subscribe and rate and review. Peace.
Some of our staples that we usually talk about. We have Age the Best, Age the Worst, but I would love to talk to you about some of the lyrics on here. So hottest bars on the album that you like. I have a few, but I would love to hear yours.
You go first.
You want me to go first?
You go first.
Okay, I don't want to go first. Mine were all centered around kind of one theme. I think LL Cool J was fucking starving during this recording because the amount of food references, right? There are so many. And I first thought, is it just me? And I've just heard Milky Cereal too many times. It's a nice concept track, and he talks about cereals, and he's flipping the words. And again, it's quite. I think there was a lot of that back then in the hip hop, like, you know, concept tracks where you're kind of working on one thing, and kind of, I think for me, peaked with Labels with Jizza when he did like that concept. That was great. And then I started digging in, and I was like, no, he genuinely is just talking about food all the time.
But you know what? You do know what it's.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely, yeah. But I'm saying, like, the metaphors and the similes, like, are all related to food, though.
I think at the time we thought it was really clever, and it's.
But I suppose there are still that bits are that clever. But I'm just going to read a few of these out that I enjoyed. So Milky Cereal, great. Let's go there. That's good. But Murdergram, one of his lyrics. Mr. Morris has entered the buffet. Some of y'all are sitting on bowls, plates of the hot buttered rolls. Beat you with bologna, stab you with salami, because when I get hot like pastrami. That's 3 references to ham.
Yeah. And then there's also Mr. Good Bar, which is a chocolate bar, and then the Milky Cereal. Yes,
it's so right.
I hadn't even noticed how.
There's a lot of this, and I went into that. He's offering out biscuits to women in 6 minutes of pleasure, which is, again, okay, metaphor. Get that. It just says, I know what you want. I made you want it. Take my hand, listen to the man. You have a plan, don't even risk it. What do you want? A biscuit?
When I hear that line, I'm like, why is
he offering biscuit?
Why are you offering a biscuit? What, do you want a biscuit? Why?
But then
you don't want crumbs in bed.
Yeah. That's it. Is that Chris Rock? You know, when he goes, "What do you want, a cookie?" You know, that reference. I was like, can't be that. That was way after. So, but as you say, Mr. Good Bar, we go into the food references, like tuna melts. Fair enough. I'm in the mood for a tuna melt. Got you there. And that's the one where he says, I can't make you, I wouldn't rape you. That's the track.
Right.
So that's the track. It's Mr. Good Bar. It's ridiculous.
Cheesy Rap Blues.
Cheesy Rap Blues.
Cheese, yeah.
Yes, cheese in there. Yeah. So I'm not going to keep going in because there's a lot of them. But what I found, there's a very strong food theme in this album. And yes.
Then there's a line I find very funny.
Go on.
Because it also seems not particularly hard. It's not a particularly great diss.
They're the best ones.
Where he says to whoever he's trying to diss, you couldn't crush a grape in a fruit fight.
Right.
Actually, did I say that without sounding like I had dentures? You couldn't crush a grape in a fruit fight.
Yeah.
But you know what it reminds me of? Do you remember Cannon and Ball?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, and there's Bobby Ball go, I could crush a grape.
Are you trying to tell me LL Cool J is referencing Cannon and Ball on this album? If it is, then this is all time. Like, we should have this in top 10s everywhere, if that's the actual case. Again, obviously, we joke and we have this kind of the disses he has on here. There are some great disses. Name the date in the arena, you 3-year-old a ballerina. So the diss, that is you're not coming back from that. The first sign of the battle, you little think, is you see blood coming out your kitchen sink. Your mic's a baby bottle, son.
You might some baby bottle, son. Yeah,
That's
he's
good.
talking about what a veteran he is in the game at the prime age of 22.
22, right?
22 years old, and he's a veteran.
He's so good at beefing. And that's what I remember him from. Is his beefing's amazing. And then of course calling Ice-T a hip hop raccoon is another all timer. So what did you have for your favourite lyrics?
I've mentioned it a couple of times, cheesy rap blues, because it's just so opposite of what he's known to be, this braggadocious, confident man. He's talking about losing it all and how nobody wants to know him anymore.
That's true.
Yeah. And all through it, he's just like, people throw my old demo tapes at me and girls think I'm corny and...
So that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Because I think Ice-T's diss to him was about him not saying anything. You just rap and rap and rap, but you're not actually saying anything. You're just on your own dick. I think that's what Ice-T's diss was to LL. And I think there's definitely some substance to that diss. But I do think that in this album, more than the others I've heard, he's showing a bit of growth, like the Illegal Search track.
Yeah.
For me, it comes onto a fact that when I think of LL, I can't help but think there's reality rap, there's conscious rap at this time. At this time, KRS-One's come out. Obviously, Cube's merging with Public Enemy, and there's a lot of that around in the hip hop sphere when this comes out. LL was just more theatrical, just much more about showmanship. I feel more than the message. Even though this album, he has, like you've said there, that kind of dimension coming to him, and he went on to do more and more of it, I think. But then it became quite formulaic. He wouldn't do a whole concept album around it. He'd have his soft track, his beef track, and then his kind of like bit more conscious track.
Yeah.
So I think he tried to do all of it, and it reminds me so much of today's resemblance to Drake. And I was thinking, LL really, this crossover rap appeal was LL. That's what he had.
Yes, yeah.
So he would co-opt names, so producers like Marley Marl, and sounds. So he would co-opt that boom bap and he'd co-opt that smooth kind of flow as well later on, and then put maybe like a pop twist on a lot of this stuff sometimes as well. So it was acceptable for, not beyond that, but middle class white people to listen to rap more. And he got called out for being too poppy. All things that
I
Drake
think he just wanted to make
does.
bank. He wanted to, I think he set out a store quite straight away when he's like, oh, hold on, I'm good at this. Oh, I'm making lots of money.
Yeah.
And he's living at home with his mom and his granny.
Yeah.
He actually found out only recently that his mom was actually adopted.
Oh,
his
wow.
mom also found that out recently. So
I didn't know that.
The granny who's mama, she's the mama, and the mama said knock you out, and appears at the end of the video.
Yeah. Can you go empty the trash or something? Yeah.
So Ellen Griffith, is LL Cool J's grandmother's name, adopted LL's mom, and they find out, and it's sort of the American type version of how Who Do You Think You Are?
Oh yeah, right. Oh wow.
Yeah. But anyway, I've gone off on a tangent.
Of course, you make your money, and this is, you've come from a place where this should be one of your main priorities, is to get out. So I understand that. I also just think like there will be no Drake without LL, because he knows, and this is a skill. Like there's so many people in hip hop who've shown this skill more than in most genres, I would say, is to know what will become popular before it becomes popular. And LL was so good at that.
Yeah.
And I think you talk about his bragging, you talk about his ego and stuff like that, especially when like people be like, well, no, he's not kicking knowledge like Public Enemy are. But I do think you have to give him props for the fact that in the 80s, he stepped out, did his thing, maybe went too far on stuff like the Panther album, but then also would he said, I don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. And he had, and that's at such a young age. And even when I see him now on Instagram and stuff, it's like your self-help uncle. Like he's just always constantly like
Uncle L.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like he's constantly like, he's no more of that kind of corny smoothness. It's now just like, follow your dreams, only you can follow your dreams, do what you got to do. And I kind of like that. I mean, I don't watch his shows. He's not really in my sphere, but when he pops up on Instagram and he's and he's there and he's trying to motivate you, I'm like, yeah, man, that's
nice. Yeah, Will Smith does that as well.
Right?
Yeah, in deep contrast to Lord Jamar, Brand Nubian, who...
I mean, I don't get how he's become so big though, because I don't remember him. And
you don't remember?
I remember Brand Nubian,
okay,
but I don't remember him.
Him particularly in there.
Him particularly. So then when I saw him, I think it all started when I first heard him, when he was talking about Eminem not being part of the culture because no kids listen to Eminem, which I think is fine. Okay, fair enough. I know kids in my family don't listen to Eminem, but that's fine. Okay. But they listen to trap. They love trap. They love Gucci Mane. They love Travis Scott, which is fine because I love that music. But when you when Lord Jamal's then talking about female rappers.
It's like, shut up, Vinegar Balls. He's such a...
But I don't get the ignorance. I don't get the ignorance of... I don't understand. I just maybe just never come from my... I've got a family of sisters, so maybe that's what it's been. But even my friends, like, female MCs, if it doesn't matter if you can rhyme and move me as I'm listening, it doesn't matter who you are.
He's sexist, he's racist, he's homophobic. You know, that show that was on a while back, Grumpy Old Men?
Yeah.
He is
Mr.
that,
right?
Grumpy old B-boy.
But this is nice that we're talking from, you've been longer in the game than I have, and you see it. So there's no like kind of, well, you might have a thing. No, we both know that's the most outdated kind of hip hop head, and they're slowly dying off. Like there's not as many of those now.
He says, women have got no place doing rap because... Yeah, they can't be talking. Yeah,
but that's what you grew up with. Do you know what I mean?
Like women should, this is an alpha male music.
It's not been that for women. It's not been that for at least a decade. In this decade alone, people like Young Thug. Young Thug's like wearing dresses. It ain't no alpha male thing anymore.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of I still see on various forums people dissing that why is he wearing a dress, and I think Pharrell's on the cover of something this week and he's wearing and then Jaden Smith. Well, they do them.
Yeah,
whatever.
Well, Andre 3000 has been doing it since the 90s.
Yeah, It doesn't rock my boat to see that, but if they want to do that, I've not. Yeah, it's their life.
Yeah,
there are 7 billion people plus on the planet. Why are you bothered with what?
That's it, man. That's it. So if we're going into some of our other little categories we do have, then right. So age the best and age the worst. I know we've touched a little bit on age the worst, but
have we done?
Well, no, I'd love to hear both your takes. Your takes on both of those.
Lord Jamal would be one of the age the worst because
I was thinking just about this album.
Okay, all right, yeah.
I was thinking just about the album, but he has just aged the worst generally. You're right.
Because he used to be pretty good looking, I think, in Brand Nubian.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay. But what about the album, LL? What do you think's aged the best?
Well, it's got to be the title track, and
absolutely
the remix of Jingling Babies on there.
Yeah,
so that's how the whole thing started.
Yeah,
the whole album. So apparently there were 8 tracks into the album, and they hadn't signed a contract.
Oh wow!
Marley Marl hadn't, because the start of it was
let's just do some music here and there.
Yeah, that Marley Marl had invited LL onto the show and said, "Yeah, let's do this," and then before you know it, they were vibing off each other that much.
That's amazing.
So I just loved the fact that it was this organically just sort of accidental thing, and then when you come into where is it? The title track is, where does it come in? The
title track is actually number 8.
Oh, number 8. Yeah, they kept in and to show how accidental everything was, and how everything was just sort of like just spawned, as they went along.
Even that, come on, man.
Come on. Yeah, that where
that's
how that
the engineer is or something.
David Kennedy apparently was messing up or just like being late with everything, and so
and then I was like,
oh, come on, man.
But what a way. Come on, man. And the way he kicks
it sends tingles down,
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's I'm with you on those certain tracks, like aging the best.
At the time, it seemed really like that. Things have sounded much better since. So I think part of me liking it is a nostalgic thing, and I really enjoyed being there with LL and just thinking, okay, well done, you've made it back from that terrible third album or the disc third album. And then is this story about his granny saying, "You show him, boy. James, you showed him. Knocked him out."
But that's the interesting thing when you say like it's dated, and there are certain tracks on here that have dated. But I think this album's one of them albums. If someone was saying to me like, say my son gets older and he's like 80s hip hop, what was 80s hip hop like? But yeah, of course I'll show you the 80s albums. But like, you know what? If you want to list to one album,
it's a 1990 though.
Yeah, it's a 1990 album. But the sound it's so 80s in a way to me. So it's like, even though he's brought it out there, it's almost like a homage to what's happened before him, and maybe it's Marley Marl who's driven that. But when I hear it, I think, oh yeah, that's like I would just say, listen to Booming System, listen to some of the select tracks off this album, and you'll get what hip hop was about. Like it was about soul samples, man. It was about the funk in this album, the melodies. Like there's so many good melodies on this album that I think the Age the Best is almost like it's like a little time capsule, and it's always going to be of that time. But I think it's kind of nice that you can go back to an album and be like, oh, that's 1990, and that was the cusp of the new decade, and it kind of shows what came before it, and that's what I liked about it. When it comes to Age the Worst, for me, it has to be the rape lyric though. I can't.
Right, definitely. Booming System. I love the track. But does anybody actually have a booming system anymore? Do you know, like they have the. I've driven in one car, right, and I can't remember whose car, who gave me a lift, and the rumbling sound that you couldn't actually talk to each other in there. And you'd have cars that would, drive past your house, and you're, why is your music so loud? Being in one of these cars is even worse. Right? And the guy kept on stopping and then opening up the boot. I saw the boot, and it's basically got a huge, big, like, sound system
in the boot,
speaker thing. And I'm like, where are you putting your shopping?
When you get to Aldi, where are you putting it?
Well, Aldi didn't exist back then. Sure, but so why? What is the purpose of this? Because I'm not enjoying this. We can't talk.
It's almost like you're stunting for everyone else on the road. Really, that's what it is. But you're getting like tinnitus soon. It's happening.
And I'm gonna be like,
not in the car.
If I get to 90 something, if I get to 90 something, and I'm shaking, it's because you did this to me with your damn booming system.
That's good. I did not think about that as Age the Worst. That's very good. So non-90s rappers, I had Drake, because I think it's kind of a seamless kind of fit.
Right.
Who have you got?
Possibly Kanye West then.
Kanye,
yeah. Okay. Because then there'd be a longer period between him going to the upside down world. There'd be, we'd have more to go, oh, that's him when he was like really good. What
do you think on Kanye at the moment?
Well, bloody MAGA bollocks. I don't understand how he's gone from interrupting Mike Myers during the Katrina thing. So George Bush doesn't like black people, to then appearing with Donald Trump, who really doesn't like black people or Mexico, anybody darker than gammon.
I mean, it's a tragic state of affairs, really. But I do think there's a lot of mental health issues that we're probably not privy to. But then it's about who you have around you. So you had like Lauryn Hill, who may or may not have had those issues that you hear these rumblings about. But she had the people around her to be like, look, you probably just want to step out of all of it and don't talk to anyone, and let's deal with it internally as a family or whichever way. Whereas his family's very much more, let's tell everyone.
Yeah, let's make a reality show. Let's
that's it, right?
Yeah,
and I think that is not a healthy look for someone who might be going through a lot of things and some horrifically bad decisions. like even then though, but it's mad like how today, like his new album's about to come out and everyone will be like, we kind of forget it. But then I'll hear podcasts and they'll be like, well, no, I haven't forgot what he said, so no, I'm not going to enjoy his new album.
Oh no, I haven't had any. When he was first coming out, I thought, oh my god, he's saving hip hop. He's a savior. He's wonderful. I thought, and then it's
a lot of us did.
Yeah, and then I don't have any interest in him. I don't have any interest in the Kardashians at all. I think I've seen one episode of the Kardashians just to go, why is everybody going on about this woman with this humongous butt?
Yeah. That's essentially it.
Yeah, who let Ray J put us,
Oh my god, yeah. That's what you're famous for. That was amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. She is, some people like, oh, she's a heroine because she got her own back on him. Like, come on, you knew what was going on.
I know. Another bits we have here, album artwork. Yes or no?
Yes. Do I sound too thirsty?
There wasn't even. I don't think I got the question finished. It was like, yes, yeah, clearly, yes. I mean, for all the machoism, I think it's a piece of art.
It is.
It's actually like,
yeah, and he's got that confident that he doesn't even have his whole face in it.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
but he's pouting in there.
He's got you've got to have the lips in there, haven't you? But like,
yeah, well, why? And now he's acting. Has he stopped licking his lips so much?
I don't know. Probably in every other episode of NCIS, he probably just does it still, just for the fans. Just for the fans.
It's like you're licking your lips too much, man. There's a
He
lot of
loved it.
saliva drying up on
He
those
loved
lips.
it, man. He loved it. This is the thing. I think the album cover, it's like, it kind of shows everything about him. Like quite confident, very confident, and less of the I don't need to. It's just my torso. Like I don't know. It's a very macho album, so it's a very macho album cover. Album title. I love the album title. Mama Said Knock You Out. Like it's just a phrase people use now, isn't it? Like people just use that. We have one here, which is when we talk about albums on this podcast. We talk about features and like people who make their careers on like one great feature sometimes. And we realize the same people come up over and over again, the same 3 people. So it's our feature trinity. If you could put one of these people on, who would it be? And could you think of a track you'd put them on? So you have Busta Rhymes, Method Man, or Nas on this album.
Yes. So I think possibly Method Man. I've got 2. Yeah, 2. So sorry, I can't just pin it down to one. Method Man, because I love his voice and because he was always great coming up with hooks. So possibly on Milky Cereal, because I love that thing he did with Mary J. Blige, You're All I Need.
Yeah. But I can see that.
But then that's like basically them talking about they're going to, because they're going to be 2 males talking about Milky Cereal or whatever. So there's basically, it's a 3-way, that's like,
Yeah, I like that.
And Nas with Illegal Search.
Definitely.
You got LL Cool J doing a bit of consciousness thing, talking about how difficult it is for, still for a black guy to drive a fancy car.
Yeah. I like it, man.
Yeah, so yeah.
Okay, they're good. I like that, the feature trinity. I thought Meth was going to get on there. He usually gets on most people. That's good.
Okay.
V, thank you so much, man. That like genuinely for anything. It's just because when people come on, they tell me like, "Oh, this is the album I want to bring." Sometimes like this one, I've not heard this one in probably a decade. Like maybe a few tracks here and there. So, I've not heard this in so long. And just being able in the last month or so to revisit an album and listen to it, I just thank you for that because it's so good. Like this is such a good album. So yes, Integrate 808, it's in. So thank you very much for bringing it. Is there anything you'd like to plug?
I do like being under the radar until things are finished.
Okay.
So it's not wanting to jinx things, but I am working on a couple of big projects.
Okay.
Some very big projects. I'm working with some pretty famous names, especially from the 80s.
Oh, okay.
And what I'll do is when things are finished, it'll be on my social media. Looks like it's pronounced Vi if you don't know me. It's Vie Marshall, on Facebook. So I'm the black one. There's a Philippine one. I get some Philippine people just friend requesting me.
Really?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah. And vmarshall.com.
Yes.
I'll put stuff on there.
Yeah.
When things are out.
Looking forward to that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, I'll just keep it.
Let us know anytime and we'll definitely pimp it out on this show for sure, man. Definitely. The fact that you give us your time anyway, like, we're here to promote, definitely.
We use off the streets. Because the rumours are true.
Oh, brilliant. But yes, other than that, one thing we always ask our guests before they leave is, what's the last great piece of music you heard? Could be old, could be new, but just the last thing that you like, that is great.
Why do I keep making these noises?
Because it was that great.
No, I'm just trying to think. What I do a lot of time now, I put on instrumentals.
Oh, okay.
So I've put every ad blocker I can onto my Firefox browser, and then I'll just look up lo-fi hip hop or chill hop.
Oh, wicked!
And what I'll get throughout my working day is like 8 hours straight of really nice stuff. Mellow stuff, or like some of it can be like really sonically complicated, but it's like great because it gets me actually functioning, so I get my work done properly. I find it very difficult to keep my mind straight unless I'm listening to that during my working day.
So you're a creative who needs some music, kind of thing.
I need music, and then it's better that it's not that I'm going, what that lyric's interesting.
Oh yeah,
what does that mean?
Yeah.
So I recommend anybody do that. If like it's great for concentrating your mind, just type in chill hop, lo-fi hip hop. Instrumentals, make sure it's got instrumentals on it, and
Bang.
ad block your browser because then you can listen to YouTube without
for sure.
adverts.
Yeah. Oh my God, amazing.
Just it goes on. You can go on all day.
That's brilliant, isn't it? Oh wow, wicked. Yeah, I want to listen to some lo-fi hip hop. Yeah, definitely. I think there's a few playlists out there I've seen that are like that. But yeah, thank you very much, Vie. Perfect. So just leaves me with a shout out for you people. Thank you for listening. All the love. Shout out to Grindhouse Music for doing all our music for the podcast. Go check him out if you need anything done. And check us out on crate808.com. All our bits are on there. And yeah, next up we'll probably have another interview. And Vie, if you ever want to come back on and bring another album, door's always open, man. We're always here for it.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, man. Cheers.